The 4 to 5, a Friday edition. I'm Chad Silver here with Tip Buckley and Lauren Coleman.
Hey everybody. Hello. I have to say, today was absolutely beautiful. If it could be like this year round, you'd always see this smile on my face.
Oh, this is your cup of tea.
Yes.
Well, enjoy. It's not over yet, so still plenty of time for folks to enjoy. We'll have your updated forecast in a couple minutes.
More on that in just a few, but first we have some developing news. We are learning more about the shooting that prompted an Amber Alert and left one person dead. A Greensboro baby was found safe in Harnett County this morning, more than an hour from the triad. Police charge his father, Kayson Monk, with murder and child endangerment. Investigators say Monk took his son Thursday after shooting two people at the Claremont apartment community. Sherelle Johnson died from her injuries. Her sister tells us she had nothing to do with the shooting. She says gun violence has taken too many lives.
Justice must be served. And I wish people stop with the gun violence. Just stop. Because innocent people are dying.
As far as the other person shot on Phillips Avenue, police say that person is expected to be okay. Police have not released any details about what led to the shooting and the eventual Amber Alert.
There was a workplace death at Egger Wood Products last night. The company says an employee died at its Linwood facility in Davidson County. It didn't reveal the person's name or how they died. The statement goes on to say mental health counselors are available for workers and they're working with safety officials to investigate.
We are following a developing story about a Maysville substation attack back in November. The FBI is now offering a $25,000 reward for information on the person or people responsible. Investigators say someone fired multiple shots into the facility. If you have any information, call the FBI's tip line. This number is on your screen. This isn't the only substation attack in North Carolina. Back in December, the Moore County substation was vandalized. Thousands of people were without power for days. After the attack, Governor Roy Cooper announced the state, Duke Energy, and the county were offering a $75,000 reward. As of today, officials say there are no updates in this investigation.
President Biden is kicking off his Investing in America tour in North Carolina. His office says he will talk about jobs and infrastructure while visiting a semiconductor manufacturer in Durham next Tuesday. He's also expected to talk about access to clean water. The stop is part of a 20-state tour over the next 3 weeks.
So, you wake up in the morning with a scratchy throat or a fever. You may be wondering, is it allergies? Is it COVID, strep? Which one is it? Dr. Christopher Uhl is an infectious disease expert with Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist. He says as COVID cases declined since a peak in January, other illnesses are now on the rise.
We're seeing some strep throat going around. There's a lot of common colds still going around. That are due to several different viruses. But by and large, I would say that we're leaving our respiratory viral season and unfortunately entering our allergy season.
Dr. Uhl says COVID symptoms often involve a stuffy nose and sore throat, which transitions into a cough, while strep is usually just a sore throat. Allergies typically involve eye irritation at the same time as a scratchy throat, while the flu tends to be a fever with head and body aches.
So unfortunately, there's a lot of overlap between these, and so we have to oftentimes test to know for sure.
As far as the common cold goes, Dr. Uhl says there is not a test for that.
If you don't have COVID, you don't have the flu, and it doesn't look like you have strep, you got a cold, and it's going to run its course. And chicken soup and rest and lots of fluids are still the best thing you can do.
Lastly, Dr. Uhl says most of the milder respiratory illnesses don't require a trip to the emergency department. He recommends going to your primary care physician or an urgent care clinic. And if you think you're sick, be a good citizen. Stay home from work and stay home from school. That's a big one. If you're sick, do not come into the job because you're going to get a lot of other people sick as well.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out that Dr. Uhl was saying when it comes to COVID, you know, we've had a lot of people get vaccinated. There's been a lot of people who've already been infected with the virus. So a lot of the cases that we're seeing now are a lot more mild. So the symptoms are going to be mild as well, which could have that confusion. Is it just a common cold or is it COVID?
Yeah.
So if you think that you might have something, just get tested. We have a lot of those take-home tests as well.
All right. I'm just glad that we're getting to a point in the weather where we are spending more time outside, and
Sure.
you know, because obviously in the winter this is when things tend to spread more.
Yeah, I always like hearing from him and his perspective. You know, he was with us right through the thick of things back in peak COVID and everything, and he always just keeps it calm,
Very
and
calm.
easy to understand, not hyper, and he's just going to tell you his honest opinion. So we appreciate that.
I love that about his personality.
Yes.
Even when it came to the cold, he's like, look, it's cold. There's no test for it.
Right.
Drink chicken noodle soup.
I
Get
mean,
some sleep.
But that's
That's
true.
all you
Everyone
gotta
knows what to do
folks.
when there's a cold. Like
Yes.
whatever works for you. You've done it before. Just do it again.
It is incredible though that he has the same voice and just way to deliver today as he did in the height of the pandemic.
That's true.
He's truly a hero.
People appreciate calm communication.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Weather has been calm and nice today. We will give you it calmly and succinctly here. Let's show you what's going on across the Triad. Of course, it's a warm day. The headline for this Friday is the heat. And yes, I think we can call this hot, or at least hot for March. Let's say. We're in the mid-80s currently, as we were telling you yesterday. Today would be the warmest day of the year so far, and indeed it is. Right now we're at 83 in Greensboro. That's the warmest that we have been since way back in September of last year, if you can believe it. High point, 84 degrees right now. Looking across the state, everybody pretty much in the same boat here, even noticing a couple of 87s popping up on the map. That's wild. Even Boone is in the 70s, so you wouldn't even escape the warmth if you go up to the mountains. It's a true spring-like day. We don't have any rain to worry about today. We will have to watch it for tomorrow. Why? Well, look here. That is your rainmaker moving across the southeast. And unfortunately for these folks in Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana, they are going to see severe thunderstorms today. We're not expecting that, but we are going to see that line of showers and storms move our way. This is very early tomorrow, 7 a.m., foothills, mountains, you're getting it. 8 a.m., this is sped up a little bit. Triad is starting to see some heavier rain, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock. That should be when the tail end starts to move in. I'm expecting this mainly to be an 8 a.m. to noon rain for tomorrow. There could be a rumble of thunder, nothing all that bad, but I would tell you, I think if you have afternoon plans tomorrow, you really don't have to worry. So we're in pretty good shape. It'll be warm, just like today, a little cooler, but upper 70s. We'll have the same weather for Sunday. We'll talk more about your full weekend forecast in a couple of minutes.
A series of attacks on American forces in Syria is raising tensions in the region, but it could also increase tensions between the U.S. and Iran.
The Pentagon says the president ordered 2 F-15 airstrikes on terrorist groups in Syria. Video shows the aftermath of the attack, which hit 2 different facilities.
The facilities were located near Dar Zur in eastern Syria, and we're continuing to assess the outcome of the strikes. Initial indications are that the facilities were destroyed.
The move was in retaliation for a drone strike Thursday that killed a U.S. contractor and wounded 5 American service members. CBS News has learned the air defense system at the base was not fully operational at the time of the drone strike.
My understanding is that there was a complete site picture in terms of radar. All that said, as is the case in any type of attack, U.S. Central Command will conduct a review to assess what happened.
A second attack Friday involved lots of rockets, but no American casualties.
American officials say the Syrian groups that carried out the attack were affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and the drone used in the attack was made in Iran.
We certainly don't seek a war or a conflict with Iran. That's not the goal. We're there to go after ISIS, but we have to do what we have to do to protect our people and our facilities, and that's the decision-making that the president made last night.
The U.S. Central Command, which oversees military operations in the area, said, "We are postured for scalable options in the face of any additional Iranian attacks." Syria remains locked in a civil war which has been going on for the last 12 years. Iran is one of the few countries supporting the Syrian government.
Russia is Syria's biggest ally. The presidents of both countries just wrapped up a joint meeting between the two last week. We'll be right back.
More Americans are squeezing into smaller spaces for housing. A new survey from Rent Cafe finds the average size of an apartment is down more than 50 square feet compared to a decade ago. But new robotic furniture technology is already helping some people use every square inch.
Like so many, architect Eric Biber now works from home, but his home works for him in a remarkable way. With the push of a button, his office becomes a bedroom.
You wake up, you bring the bed up, you get to work?
Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty simple like that.
Biber and his wife Salome were invited to test a cloud bed from Brooklyn-based startup Ori.
The back of the couch becomes the headboard.
CEO Asier Larea started the company more than a decade ago when he was at MIT.
We like to think about the concept of transforming a space.
Their expandable apartments are powered by robotic furniture that can unfold into a walk-in closet or slide to unveil a home office.
The robotics also have built-in safety features. Just 20 pounds of pressure, say from 2 or 3 fingers, are enough to pause it and then send it moving back up.
More companies are building shape-shifting furniture as apartment sizes shrink. New apartments average just 887 square feet, according to a Rent Cafe survey.
Definitely feels like we're living in the future.
Ori sells directly to the developers of more than 50 apartment buildings around the country. Larea says units can be just 350 square feet, so tenants pay lower rents without losing function.
I wonder if we will see any of that next month when the High Point Furniture Market comes to town. It is one of the biggest events for the city, occurring twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. As you know, the event brings in people from across the globe to share and highlight the latest furniture trends across 11 million square feet of showroom space. Every time it comes here, I am so jealous that I'm not allowed, I'm not cool enough to go to parties or any of the things.
What if we ask nicely?
I mean, we could try.
Can I get a badge to report on it or something?
Yes, you can do
Okay,
that,
cool,
yes.
because I saw like all the speakers that were going to be there.
Yeah.
There got some HGTV folks on there. It just
yeah.
sounds like a lot lot of fun.
What do you do when you go there? You just look at furniture?
Yeah, but
It's
apparently
like an
there's some cool parties.
industry-wide thing.
Oh, so it's parties.
Oh,
It's like black
It's
tie
like, why
parties.
does Chad want to look at couches? This is why.
that's the real reason.
So going back to the furniture,
Yeah.
before that story, it's so fascinating, some of the technology that's out there.
Right.
It reminds me of when we were young and some of the classrooms had those like accordion doors to make rooms double the size that they were. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah, the dividers. You're
Yes.
talking about the dividers,
An
yeah.
adjoining room. Yeah,
Right.
It is. I mean, I would be claustrophobic, I think, in this sort of a situation in really small space. But if you don't have a lot of room, that's a smart way to use
Yeah.
it, to get a little bit of a desk when you need it, and then it goes away and it's a bookshelf.
Especially if you're in the city and you live in a studio apartment where the square foot is probably a lot smaller.
It's like a trap door you hit a button.
Yeah.
You know, like some secret passage.
The Murphy bed was the first of its kind, right? We'll be right back. This is the time of year when we all need to start thinking about sunscreen again. Our Verify team cleared up some common misconceptions about sunscreen.
Our sources for these questions, Dr. Alyssa Daniel, a dermatologist with Novant Health, and Dr. Melissa Pilliang, a dermatologist with the Cleveland Clinic. The first question, if you have darker skin, do you need to wear sunscreen?
Darker complexions are more protected against skin cancer. So the frequency of getting skin cancers in the brown and black community is going to be far smaller than people who have fair skin.
Dr. Daniels says, though skin cancer is less prevalent in people with more melanin, the sun can still cause aging and damage.
Even brown or black skin can get more aggressive sun damage the more that they're exposed. So I typically just say for everyone, for that simple fact, it is useful and helpful to, maintain that aspect of skincare.
So we can verify that yes, if you have darker skin, you should still wear sunscreen. The second question, can a bad childhood sunburn increase the risk for melanoma? Dr. Pilliang says one childhood sunburn can actually increase the risk for skin cancer.
Studies have shown that most of our sun exposure happens in childhood. We're outside running around playing, we're playing sports, we're outside a lot, and that's when we get a lot of our sun exposure. So it's really important to think about sunscreen and sun protection at a very young age.
So we can verify that yes, a bad childhood sunburn can actually increase your risk for melanoma.
I'll also point out too, you can get sunburned in this time of year. It is absolutely easy to do. Part of the reason why, we don't think about this a lot, but the sun angle right now in March, just 3 months before the first day of summer, is the same as 3 months after the first day of summer. So the March sun and the September sun have the same strength, even if we don't think about them in the same way. Our temperatures today have been in the 80s, not close to a record. The record high for today is pretty much a shocker. It got up to 91 degrees back in 1907 on today's date. If we look across the Carolinas, everybody is hot. That is the case for sure. But there is cooler weather across the country. The Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and also the Great Lakes are cool. And where that contrast is happening, they've had some bad weather. There are a few tornado warnings and thunderstorm warnings in Arkansas, for example. They have a tough day of weather ahead for them. For us, that same weather system moves in tomorrow, but we're not expecting severe storms. Instead, that line of rain will be weakening as it moves across the mountains. Our time frame to possibly get wet would be 8 a.m. to about noon. So I'll put this on the screen for you so you can see it. That's 7 and 8 o'clock right there. Notice heavy rain is possible. This is not a wimpy system. We will have some heavier rain with this, but by 9, 10, and 11, off it goes. We'll actually see drier weather pushing in by the afternoon, and I think we're in good shape after lunchtime to stay dry. It'll be warm both days for the weekend.
All right, it was a crazy night for basketball last night with some exciting finishes. The night started off with 9-seed FAU defeating 4-seed Tennessee 62-55. The victory sends the Owls to the Elite Eight for the first time in school history. Then the Yukon Huskies breezed by the Arkansas Razorbacks with an 88-65 win. It was the only game from last night that was decided by more than 7 points. 7-seed Michigan State and 3-seed Kansas State played back and forth games that ended up in a 98-93 overtime victory for the Wildcats, one of the best games in the tournament so far. And they may have actually saved the best for last as 2-seed UCLA and 3-seed Gonzaga battled down to the final moments with the Bulldogs taking the lead with just under 7 seconds remaining, eventually defeating UCLA 79-76. And I have to say, even if you aren't the biggest sports fan, that last game, anybody could appreciate that because it was like seconds, before we saw who the winner was going to be.
And if you could stay up late enough to watch it, you probably enjoyed it. That game didn't get over until after 12:15 a.m. We didn't go on until 12:31.
Yeah, wow. we know because we were doing the news afterwards.
Were you guys in the newsroom like jumping up and down screaming?
Oh, we were in here.
We were kind of right here because we had to be ready, but it was so exciting. And
Yeah.
I really hate when the games are often blowouts because I just tune right out. I'm not interested.
Right.
If I don't care about the teams otherwise, I only want to see the competition. So
Right.
when it's a nail biter, like we had 3 out of 4 nail biters yesterday, that's what you want.
That's what makes the best games. Everybody's tuned in.
Good TV too.
And especially once it gets this close to the end of the tournament, right?
Yep.
But I mean, you kind of expect some blowouts, or you know, in the first round, and then the round of 32. But now is when you've got to see all these games have to be good.
And we're still getting upsets. I didn't know Florida Atlantic University was a school. I'm sorry if any FAU people are watching, but now we know, and now they get that publicity and they get to move on.
I've got to say, this March Madness is definitely living up to the hype. When it comes to your bracket, how are you guys doing?
I'm going to move on to the programming note. It's
I'm
so bad.
actually in first place. in one
Okay,
of
so
them.
you must not be doing very well.
I'm doing okay,
pretty
but
bad.
it'll get busted.
But looking ahead, we will be airing 2 more Sweet 16 games tonight. They'll be on from 7 to midnight, and our late news will start immediately after. This means shows like Colbert, Corden, Wheel, and Jeopardy will air overnight. Check our website for more information. We'll be right back.
It is National Cocktail Day, so I asked you on Facebook if you could describe yourself as a cocktail, what would it be and why? We got some interesting answers here. So Dee Dee says, straight, no chaser. What you see is what you get. Yes. Donald Gibson, wine better with age. Fine as wine. Diane said, amaretto on the rocks, nutty but sweet. And then Sandra Williamson says, old school Mad Dog 2020. I've actually never had Mad Dog before, but I've seen it.
I don't know what that
in
is.
the store.
It's,
It comes in lots of colors and it's usually on the
right. I think it hit its peak the same time Boone's Farm hit its peak.
Yeah.
All right. I got you.
All right.
So at first I was thinking I would be champagne because I'm all the class with a little bit of sass, but I went ahead and I took a
Not because you're bubbly?
Oh, and I'm a little bubbly too. But I took this quiz on BuzzFeed where it could tell you what kind of cocktail you would be, and it
now
said,
you have a virus on your phone.
And
now you have a virus on your phone.
I know, right? It said I would be a gin and tonic, bubbly and fun. A gin and tonic is for people who like kicking back and enjoying the outdoors. People tend to gravitate to your lighthearted personality, and you tend to gravitate to the clean flavors of gin and tonic.
Okay, that's good.
Tim?
That's a good answer. I don't know. I answered your question. I said I was an old-fashioned because I'm kind of calm. I don't like to rock the boat all that much. It's strong, but it's a little sweet too. I like it.
I like that. That fits you, suits you.
Yeah.
I'd probably say that I'm a Bloody Mary because
I was thinking tequila.
Explain.
When people are feeling down and they're just really not in the mood, I get that party started again, right?
Oh, okay.
You've got a hangover, then you drink a Bloody Mary, the hair of the dog, and here we are. It's Sunday Fun Day.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. All right,
funny.
share your answers with us on Facebook. We're live on the stream.
It could be a mocktail too.
Yeah,
That's okay.
mocktail too.
Yes.
Cranberry and soda.
Yes.
Yo, Mike check Jalen. Mike check Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mike check Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Like clubbing music.
It's like we're at a pool, right? A day party.
Sure
I call this Friday music.
It is. 4:30 on a Friday.
Could you imagine if we never tossed to Jalen like we have to coming up here and we just danced? Our producer, the director, they'd be so, you guys would be so mad at us, I bet.
Well, let's go ahead and toss to Jalen. He's got a great story for us today. We all know that first responders see and experience some of the most horrendous things in our world. Those experiences often can lead to several types of mental health issues. That's why the Greensboro Fire Department assembled a peer support group. WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey went to learn more.
Founded in 2016, the Greensboro Fire Department's peer support group was designed as a safe space for firefighters to decompress and vent, whether that be work-related or personal.
In my 23 years on the job, it has become increasingly more evident of the need for behavioral health resources.
That's exactly why the Greensboro Fire Department created their peer support group.
As firefighters, we come into situations that could be what we call potentially traumatic events. And those events could cause us stress in our life because they're not normal situations you would see.
That includes incidents like the deadly house fire on Glenside Drive in Greensboro that claimed the lives of 2 young children.
We are a resource for our members, so in case they do start to have some issues, they have someone that they can talk to. They're not dealing with this by themselves. And we are a bridge to other resources, professional help, whatever in their life would be beneficial for them.
Those resources include, but are not limited to, self-help groups for addiction, marriage or couples therapy, access to financial advisors, as well as clinical counselors like Amanda Chills.
So when you have the support inside with someone they trust, it's so much easier to work with someone who they like, who they know, who they trust, which is how we've honestly gotten a lot of first responders is through, we started with one.
This peer support group may not catch every issue that exists amongst the ranks, but they do what they can to help as many as they can.
So this process being normalized has helped reduce the stigma in our department to where it's more normal that people are seeking out resources so they can get help for themselves and others.
I often think about first responders and firefighters when we hear about really just traumatic situations, children dying in house fires, children dying in car accidents. All of the firefighters, I imagine, are impacted by this, but to be a firefighter who is a parent of someone who is a similar age as someone who has died, I can't even imagine what that is like.
They definitely see a lot of things that the average person doesn't see. I remember when I was working in my first market, one of the fire chiefs in that area was talking about the importance of mental health, and he was talking about how certain firemen have seen people decapitated or they've seen child deaths, and some of them unfortunately didn't get the help that they needed. And he shared the story of one man who actually ended up losing his job. He ended up, losing his family just because his mental health took a toll.
Well, it's a tough job too with odd hours, and you're away from family. You're not going to be there for all the moments too, and so that's all important to take care of.
It's a good thing to highlight, Jalen.
Absolutely.
Great story.
All right, Tim, we got to talk about that weather. Boy, people are loving this Friday.
It's very warm. Yeah, like it or not, it's warm. It's hot this afternoon for sure. We're in the 80s right now for the first time in a while. We actually did this, if you can remember, back in February. We had a day that snuck up into the 80s, but this is warmer than that. We're in the mid 80s currently with partly cloudy skies, good amount of a breeze out there to help keep you cool if it's a little toasty for your liking. 84 in High Point right now, and as we look across the area, the range here is basically from about 81 in the foothills to around 86 to 87 degrees. So this is warm. It's certainly a hot day of weather for sure. We're watching the radar here. Nothing super local at the moment, but big time weather is happening in the middle of the country right now. From Louisiana to Arkansas, Mississippi, they're going to have some tough weather today. Tornadoes, severe thunderstorms. That is the springtime problem that they're having this afternoon. And the same system will head our way for tomorrow. But we're super lucky, as we have been a lot this year so far, to be honest. We're lucky it's coming in the morning because there's not a lot of heat and humidity for it to work with. So there shouldn't be all that much of rough weather early on. There will be a line of showers 7 a.m. to around noon. That's when we're seeing it move in, but I'm not expecting severe storms. There will be some heavier rain with this, maybe even some thunder too, but it shouldn't be damaging. Breezy weather for tomorrow afternoon. We're warming up into the upper 70s. We'll have your Sunday forecast in a couple.
Have you heard of a foil team? Well, the Page High School boys foil team has done it again. They're back-to-back state champions of fencing, and now the girls foil team has also claimed a state title. WFMY News 2 photographer Crosby Sensabaugh saw why they're so good.
It's just exhilarating. It's really fast-paced, although it can be really slow at times too.
Fencing is like chess. It's a lot of mental and physical. To do the physical, you have to do the mental in your head as well.
There's a poster at my school that actually said, like, if you wanted to survive a zombie apocalypse, you should join this sport. It was kind of crazy, but I mean, it got me interested. So like a searching motion for their blade, so I can like beat it out of the way and then finish my attack. Executing what you want to execute it's really exhilarating, really rewarding. This state championship was harder. We lost 2 of our seniors last year, but and this one went to like the final bout possible. Last year's didn't, and yeah, we won it at the last moment. I have a great team. They're really happy with my captaining this year. It was great leading them. It was fun. It was a fun time. I just always want to see our team succeed. Paige, we've been working with the girls a lot too, so it was a good experience.
I think it's amazing. I love it. I hope to carry it throughout senior year. This is our first time ever at Paige, and I'm ecstatic. We've never won, and it's really nice leading the team. I fenced the last touch. I ran her down the strip and did a flash to her, which I basically ran at her and went past her, and I got the touch off of that.
Oh my God, so many cameras.
I would love 2 in a row. 2 in a row just in general, not just because the men's team did it, but 2 in a row in general would just be very fun. I've done other sports before, but I've never had it where it's like this close and everything's so much fun.
Go Pirates!
So awesome.
I'm fascinated
That
by
is
that.
cool. Me too.
I have never met anybody who has fenced or foiled. I'm not really sure how to use those terms, but it's interesting.
It's so awesome they have this program at their school, because we didn't have a fencing program or foil program at my high school or any of the neighboring high schools. So I wonder, how do you even get into that? Is it something you start when you're really young, when you go to high school, and if they offer it, do you just jump on? I would love to learn the process of how you even get involved in something like that.
It's cool to see because we're such a football, basketball society, and you have soccer out there, other sports, but the obscure ones or ones that aren't as well known, they can have the same level of competition, the same level of intensity. When you hear the people cheering, they're so into it. Let's get more of a crowd out there. They're a champion in our backyard. Can we go watch this?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And I think that they're starting like this dynasty there, right? Like I mean, they've been rock stars and they've won all these the awards. I mean, they're going to be good.
Keep it up.
All right, Paige brought home the state championship last month for men's and women's foil. They hope to keep the winning streak going next school year.
And racing returns to North Wilkesboro in May when NASCAR's All-Star Weekend will take over the historic track. The main events happen Saturday and Sunday, but there is a lot going on until then. Tickets are now on sale for the ASA Stars National Tour, Car Pro's late model and car late model stock races on May 16th and 17th. General admission tickets for the late model races are $30 per night or $50 for both nights. Parking is also on sale. Weekend packages, which include tickets to the NASCAR All-Star races, are still available.
From the track to the hardwood, we will be airing 2 Sweet 16 games tonight. They'll be on from 7 to midnight, and our late news will start immediately afterward. This means shows like Colbert, Corden, Wheel, and Jeopardy will air overnight. Check our website for more information.
The High Point Greater Food Alliance presented 16 local nonprofit organizations with money to keep programs going to help our community stay fed. Today, they handed out a little more than $50,000. One of those groups was D Up Incorporated.
We have kids who are in kindergarten until high school. And the funds that we received here will allow our middle school, high school advocacy group to fight insecurity in a way of putting plants into the homes of their friends and their family. They'll have an opportunity to grow the produce themselves.
The group doesn't just go out and buy food. Students will get to plant and harvest produce themselves in a lesson in self-sustainability. Stick with us. We'll be right back. As we know, the 4 to 5 is all about talking about food. Is that right?
Yes, and I was thinking to myself, we haven't talked about food yet today, but we did talk about drinks, so I suppose
That counts in the same category, and we're talking
Well,
about
that's
food in the next block as well.
Okay, all right, good.
Well, food is one of those things you can't live without. Thousands of people in Guilford County rely on someone else to help them feed them. Senior Resources of Guilford provides meals for about 12,000 people in our immediate area. Prior to the pandemic, Meals on Wheels in Guilford County served 350 meals per day. Now they serve over 500 meals per day. 2 Wants to Know's Tanya Rivera emceed the fundraiser for Senior Services of Guilford today. The organization needs money to help provide meals. They need volunteers to deliver those meals and help with other food resources.
It costs $2,000 a year to feed someone a meal 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, so you can send what you can. I open the mail and I see checks for $4 or cash for $4, and I see gifts of very large sizes. Every gift makes a difference because each meal is about $8 a meal using a local caterer, and so we keep that money in the community, and so gifts of all sizes are valuable.
Awesome. You can check out how to donate or help volunteer by looking for this story in the 2 Wants to Know section.
My grandmother receives Meals on Wheels, and I think that, you know, talking about getting people to volunteer to do Meals on Wheels, she lives alone now after my grandpa passed away, and she just loves the interaction every day with the person who delivers it. So she likes the meals; they're okay. You know, she's perfectly fine with that.
Sure.
But she just likes having someone to talk to face to face.
That's nice.
Knowing every day someone is going to come and say hello.
Because a lot of the clients often live alone, so that is something that they tend to enjoy. And to volunteer, it's only 1 day a month for 2 hours.
I mean,
1 day a month for 2 hours, you can certainly touch somebody's life.
That's really not a big commitment.
Not at all.
Yeah, and they need all the help they can get, I imagine.
Right.
And certainly the cash helps too, as they said.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Great program. More of that information, you can find it on our website. Now, there is a saying, hurt people hurt people. Today on U Day, Coach Lamont helps us zoom in on how our hurt might affect those around us.
People who have experienced some type of hurt tend to intentionally or unintentionally hurt others. When imprisoned within our own pain, we often find ways to warp others into our pain bubble. Then this can lead to a false belief that the more we can hurt others, the less pain we feel. The only way to break this cycle is first be honest with ourselves. It's the lies we continue to tell ourselves that become our life foundation. It's time to take a step back. Look at your actions towards those you love. Is placing your pain on them worth it? We must acknowledge that the people we are hurting are the people we need most, and that alone should be the basis to why we need to find the healing that we need. Let's start that healing process now. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best U Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I saw something on Twitter from the TSA that caught my eye. It now says it considers peanut butter a liquid. The TSA says it falls under the definition of a liquid, which has no definite shape and takes a shape dictated by its container. Listen to some of these other unusual TSA things. You cannot have soft or creamy cheese, well, at least not over 3.4 ounces. Same goes for dips like queso or hummus, unless they're in very small amounts. No English Christmas crackers, also known as party poppers. And a sad day for the kids, you can't have foam swords. You can, however, have fresh flowers and fresh eggs. Again, these are per the TSA carry-on rules, not checked bags.
Interesting.
I am not making fun of the TSA. They have reasons for this.
Right.
But I just think that's hilarious. I think this is so silly when you hear about it. And like I said, I'm sure there are valid reasons. I don't know them. You don't know them. They know them. But it's just funny to me.
I'm in my mind trying to think about what doesn't take a particular shape or form. So I'm like, mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard. Are those not allowed either?
I found out the hard way several years ago when I used to live in Wisconsin. I would go to Florida, and one of my favorite grocery stores was Publix. And they always had this seafood cheese spread that I would bring home in a carry-on. So this time I brought a soft cooler. I bought 5 huge containers of it. To bring home. I bring it through security. They're like, you can't have that.
The alarms went off.
I mean, like, I basically got arrested,
Oh,
right?
gosh.
So all of that seafood cheese spread, I just had to throw it out.
They'll be like, what's your crime? Seafood cheese spread.
I brought cheese back from Wisconsin last year. That works. Regular cheese. We're going to show you the forecast here, of course. It's been hot today. We're going to be warm heading into the weekend as well. I've got the 7-day forecast up there right now. You can see, of course, how much warmth we have in the future. But one of the things I want to show you especially is the futurecast. As we go into your Saturday, one of the things we're going to watch more closely will be a line of rain that's moving our way. Right now, it's well to our west, and we really aren't going to have to worry about it. But it will be moving a little bit closer to us. And the timing on this for tomorrow morning is going to be between 7 in the morning to about noon, okay? That's that timing that really could be threatened by some rain. And some of it could indeed be a little on the heaviest side. Now, thankfully for us, we're not expecting strong or severe thunderstorms. That is the case across the south today. But for us, it's mostly showers, and some of them might be heavy, but again, they aren't going to be damaging. If you have plans this weekend, the time frame to kind of avoid or at least be aware that rain might crash your party is 8 in the morning through noon. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon's fine, and Sunday's fine too. It'll both be warm days with highs in the upper 70s. Not all that humid, but plenty pollinated. We're expecting lots of pollen in the air over the next couple of days. Back to the 7-day forecast we go. As we get after your weekend, things will start to cool slowly. I'm expecting mid-60s next week. The next threat for some rain, most likely, coming up on your Tuesday.
All right, you have to check out these pictures of the northern lights. Last night, people could see them all the way down to parts of Virginia. Apparently, this is very unusual. They're typically more common in only northern parts of the country. What you see here are actually pictures that my cousin took in Wisconsin. Unfortunately, for people here and in Virginia, not as beautiful down here. But Tim, you saw pictures from people in Virginia seeing those.
Have you heard the term FOMO, fear of missing out? Yes. This was me yesterday because people are sending me these beautiful photos. I'm here at work and I can't get in the car and drive up to Virginia, but it looked beautiful, and it is very rare to have them anywhere close to our area, of course.
Absolutely beautiful. Have you all ever seen it in person before? Because I have.
I have seen them, but not as vibrant as that. And I asked my cousin, she said she just took those with her iPhone.
Oh,
so this is not a professional photographer.
No. It looks like it.
And a lot of people have asked, are we going to have a chance to see them again sometime soon? And the expectation is no. So this is usually kind of a one-time thing where it lasts for about a day or so. You get strong storms from solar energy from the sun, stuff that's really complicated, but when it moves through the Earth's magnetic field, that's where you get this reaction. That's winding down.
Wow, that is cool.
Science.
All
Beautiful.
Right. We'll be right back.
Missed it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the 8 to the 9. Yeah, I still don't have an iPad. I should have one by next week, so just extra cute.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2.
Uh-oh.
Wednesday morning, something happened to where we were all.
Sherelle Johnson was a mother to 4-year-old twin boys.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents, and today we're talking about binge watching. We all know that feeling. You come home from work, you take care of dinner and things you need to take care of, you want to watch a couple episodes, Yellowstone, Ted Lasso, Mandalorian, White Lotus, whatever it is. You just want to get in a few episodes. Next thing you know, just one more. And then it's 1 a.m. and you know you're going to pay for it the next day. We've all been there. In fact, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics said that the average American watches almost 3 hours a day, 2.7 hours a day. That's like 20 hours a week. That's like a part-time job if you think about it. Netflix actually said that 61% of people watch between 2 and 6 episodes at one sitting. That's binge watching. Some psychologists say it's good in some ways because it causes the brain to get all excited with activity and it releases dopamine, which is almost like a drug-like high. Now, the flip side of that is that they call situational depression, meaning as soon as the series is over with, you feel like you've lost connection with a best friend. And that may be the final season, or you may have to wait another year or two to get to the next season. So there's ups and downs to this. I guess the bottom line is it's not going anywhere. We all love it. You just have to do everything in moderation, right? And we all need human interaction in person. There is no substitute for that. So the doctors say if you're canceling appointments with friends and family because you got to watch something on your streaming platform, then you might need to back things down a bit. But I have to go right now because I got to go finish White Lotus. But that's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We begin with new details about the dad accused of taking his 9-month-old after a deadly